What I do want to talk about, which you haven't mentioned yet, and I'd like to mention it, is the predisposing decade is the 70s. It's just that little edge of the 60s, from 68 onward, through to 1979. That's the predisposing. Now, there are some people I see in this room who will know what I'm talking about, but the rest will get it from newspapers and journals and so on, and movies. And those are all good sources. Mine's a life source. I was actually living it and trying to shape that period and to stop the 60s from being trashed as it commonly was, both in America and in Britain and in most other developed societies. So what I've done is, what I want you to, those of you who weren't alive at that time, I want you to imagine a society in which Marxism was almost commonplace in terms of its language. It's almost unimaginable now to think that this was the case. But I looked out last night, the program, the National Theatre program for my play, The Party, which I wrote in 1972-3 and which was shown in 1973, starring Laurence Olivier in one of the leading roles, and directed by the leading director for the National at the time, a fellow called John Dexter. This was put together by a critic at the time called Kenneth Tyner, based on my materials, my research materials. It's a 48-page booklet. It's a tour. The party is set in London in 1968 at a Friday night meeting, which is visited by, at the house of a Play for Today, Wednesday play producer. But he has invited the head of the chairman, the general secretary of the Socialist Labour League, SLL, yeah? Or is it WRP?
Socialist Party in there.
RSP I call it, but it's actually, it's just on that movement, it's just on the cusp between SLL and WRP. And this man comes in, takes over the meeting, is the meeting in a sense, and delivers a speech which lasts for 22 minutes, uninterrupted, which is certainly since Shaw the longest speech, political speech ever delivered on the British stage. It's also, I don't even use the word, so I won't, but there is a nice anecdote about a swear word which is in it, which Olivier said, that's the first time it's ever been used on this stage. Do you realise that, Trevor? And I said, well, no, I didn't. He said, at least as part of the text.
It's a wonderful speech, incidentally.
But what we have here is a calendar of the year 1968, which has just about every political detail you could imagine, from Vietnam and from France and from Sweden and from Denmark and from Italy and from America. It's just absolutely extraordinary, and it's also covered, the whole piece is covered with wall graffiti, political graffiti from Paris, including a famous poem, Je participe, tu participes, il participe, nous participons, vous participez, il profite, which was up there. I remember seeing it. In addition to that, there are pages and pages and pages of writing. I'll just go through a few just to give you some idea of what I'm dealing with.